Hello, my name is Jason Huff, and welcome to the Huffcast. This is the Weekly Huff, spelled Weakly, Episode 0, Introduction. A little bit about me. I am a commercial and corporate lawyer, presently in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, who has been in and out of the Middle East for over 20 years and counting. I guess you could say that in addition to being a transactional attorney, I'm something of a professional expat who also has a bachelor's degree in international politics and a lifelong passion for that subject. I head the international commercial and corporate practice at the firm here in Jeddah and am of counsel to law offices in New York and London. When not in Saudi Arabia or one of the smaller Gulf states, I make my home in the northeastern USA, or Mid-Atlantic region, as some of us like to say, with occasional stops in the UK. Recently, with the start of the war between Israel and Iran, I heard from more than a few people who conveyed surprise, not seeming to know what led to the war, or why it was being fought, or why the war should matter to the USA at all. In short, many who were back home did not see this coming. Conversely, I do not know anyone in this part of the world who was surprised by the outbreak of that conflict. So I was surprised to learn that in the events in the months leading up to the war, these events seem not to have been substantially covered in the USA or in the West more generally. Now, I do note that some outlets did cover some factors leading up to the war, and someone alternative media have been very good indeed. I think it is fair to say that most normal, for lack of a better word, normal people do not know the basics of geopolitics, including geopolitical theory, geography, history, and other associated subjects, whether it pertains to the Middle East region, other regions, or globally. And therefore, they're not ordinarily drawn to the kind of programming that does a good job of explaining the complexities of geopolitical controversies or other international matters. So I thought I'd pop onto here and go over some of the basics. The more choices, the better, right? Well, here I am anyway. I, for one, am confident that I do not qualify as normal in that me seeing the war coming and having a pretty accurate idea as to when it would begin, it is candidly not typical of most people, whether they hail from my neck of the woods in the northeastern USA or elsewhere in the West. In very brief summary, okay, this is where we're at. We are in the midst of a tectonic shift in the balance of power in the Middle East and on a region by region basis, the balance of power globally. Now, I thought it might be a good time to share some of what I know about the geopolitical basics regarding strategic so called hotspots, for lack of better phrasing, such as the Middle East, but elsewhere in the world as well. And I hope you find this to be valuable to you. As I said, the global construct is changing, or is being changed rather, and you should know about this change in something of a broad sense at least, and the reasons for it, as well as some of the consequences that may result from this fundamental change in or to our world. The discussion here will be broad, but rich with what I think to be important, interesting, and useful information. Now, my thoughts on current events will be provided in tandem with such information and will also be part of the discussion here. I will not dive deep into the nitty gritty details. Not enough of such details are available to me personally firsthand, and there are other outlets and alternative media that will provide you with plenty of blow by blow coverage of the political or military judo associated with various conflicts and other events. Here we're going to try and stick to the 30,000 foot view, if I could put it that way. Now, in the coming weeks, we will have plenty of opportunities to discuss this very basic material, the geopolitical theory or theories in play, and the policies of concerned nation states. Whenever I think, whenever I think I see an important issue arising. But for now, and this is why I'm calling this introductory piece, which I'm going to pin, as some tech savvier people say, pin it. For now, I'm just going to call this episode Weekly Huff Zero. Um, I'm going to quickly go over the structure and general tenor of this podcast series, aiming for once a week, skipping some weeks, and I'll mention in preceding programs when I intend to skip a week. I will record a brief segment of the Huffcast called the Weekly Huff. Each Weekly Huff will last no longer than 15 minutes. Each program will ordinarily feature me talking with the audience, well, you, if you're out there, but on occasion I will discuss specific issues with a respected colleague when the subject matter more closely aligns with one or more interests that fit within someone else's basket of interests, knowledge, experience, expertise, etc. Sometimes, whether alone or with a guest, I will use maps. I think you can learn a lot from looking at maps. Now, as for me, I could just stare at a map all day if my law partner would let me, and not run out of thoughts or ideas, and some of them very challenging. I may recommend viewing another online program that I myself found to be particularly informative on a pertinent subject. I may also recommend reading materials that I feel are apropos. Yes, I believe that people still read. Anyway, as a wise man once said, you do not have to burn books. Just get people to stop reading them. I think I'm paraphrasing Mark Twain here, but don't quote me on that. Yeah? Anyway, everyone is free to read on their own time, right? And again, no weekly huff will last longer than 15 minutes. I thank you for your indulgence, but I will not tax your time and attention longer than that. And I don't think it likely that you will get more out of a longer podcast than you can out of good reading materials. Now, being a lawyer, this is the part where I start with the disclaimers. These disclaimers being applicable to every episode of this podcast, including this episode 0. No recommendations or other references will be made in exchange for cross recommendations or cross references. If I like something, I will tell you I like it. That's it. Also, now may be a good time to mention that I am not seeking to monetize this channel. I'm doing this solely because I want to, and even if I wish to monetize this channel, YouTube's rules concerning monetization set the bar at a height to which I am not confident my little Huffcast can leap. In addition to not getting into blow-by-blow coverage of events, I'm going to steer clear of the kind of hyper-partisan politics that I know turns me off from getting my news and information concerning geopolitics and international affairs from, say, more conventional media sources. While I know that some are interested in that sort of thing, at best, I find no value in it. And at worst, I believe it to be a wasteful and divisively acrimonious distraction from things that really matter. If you're well, there's only one way to put it. If you are one of what I call the wing nuts, with either wing, any side, I don't care, and you're looking around for more red meat upon which to feast, I'm sorry, but this channel is not for you. You probably don't need it anyway. Other waters out there are filled with buckets of 100% pure blood sacrificed just for you. And those others who seek intellectual comfort in your respective thought bubbles. Look, if you know plenty already and your mind is made up, and all you need is additional third-party validation of your worldview. Please don't waste your valuable time here. That's all. And besides, look, I am not doing this for the joy of policing the comment section for trolls. In fact, I have turned the comment section off, and it will remain off. Look, I'd love to have more of an exchange with viewers, particularly those who are regular viewers, but in this day, look, this is the day and age in which we live, okay? Now, that said, I do have opinions of my own, and I will occasionally share some of them when I think it is valuable to do so. This will not strictly be a Joe Friday, just the facts, ma'am, presentation of a watered down course on geopolitics 101, wherein I dryly recite balance of power theory along with some history in 10 to 15-minute segments. All right, so I will express my opinion, and any opinions expressed here will be my own. I'm not looking to blow someone else's trumpet or anything else for that matter. Again, I'm not here. I'm not looking to monetize. But hey, look at this product placement, right? Check it out. Here we go. You want your product featured here? It's easy. Send me a check. Now, I do endeavor to approach the subject matter of this show, which can be sometimes dry and sometimes just downright grim, with a sense of humor. But kidding aside, all jokes aside, and back to the all-important disclaimers, I will only share my genuinely held opinion. And along those lines, I want to make it clear that I cannot promote any product or service that in any way touches upon the subject matter of this program. Nor will I promote products or services offered by the corporate clients of Mutlaq Ali Al Najrani, lawyers and legal consultants, also known as ManLaw, in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I will, from time to time, mention ManLaw, though. Hey, why not? It's my show. Anyway, enough of the disclaimers. Back on point. It's a sometimes scary world out there, and it can be just chock full of surprises, right? But it's also an interesting world, and knowledge is power. If nothing else, it has the power to lessen instances of surprise and the degrees of such surprises, which makes the world a little less scary, I think. In fact, more often than not, I have found most of the places I've been on this little blue-green spinning ball of ours to be rather beautiful. And remember, as Frank Sinatra once said, fear is the enemy of logic. A niece of mine made this for me, so it must be true, right? Anyway, I'm going to believe it. Finally, I guess I should mention this today. The day of this recording is July 24, 2025. Now, just prior to recording this, I learned of the passing of Hulk Hogan. That's right, Hulk Hogan. Now, whether you loved him or hated him or never heard of him, I don't care. All right? When I was a kid, I didn't know anyone in my age group who wasn't a fan. He exhibited boundless energy, and his passing is a reminder that life really is very short indeed, even for those of us who are seemingly indestructible. Well, even for those who are seemingly indestructible, I don't count myself as someone who seems indestructible. In any event, make as much out of life as you can. And to do that, learn as much as you can, whenever you can, about those things that you believe really matter, or those things which you simply find to be just plain interesting. So you may work out, say, 30 minutes every other day for the sake of a healthy body. Doesn't your brain and your soul deserve at least 15 minutes of exercise a week? Yeah, think about it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you choose to watch again soon. I'll be here. God bless.